Hey everybody, it's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. First, I want to talk about Alterna Comics. Essentially, that's the crux of this video. Every time I see wackos on Twitter that sort of go after Peter Simeti for really stupid, insignificant, not only insignificant but invented reasons to be upset, I get a little defensive. I'm very proud to be an Alterna Comics creator, and I remember it really wasn't that long ago. Sometimes it feels like a long time ago that I was getting a cover and privately photoshopping Alterna's trade dress on my cover because I wanted to see what it would look like if I had a book from Alterna. I just wanted to see, did it fit in with the line? Would it make sense? And so it's really great that today I get to say that I'm an Alterna creator. And actually reached out to my local comic book shop today, and I said, "Hey, because because my book has been published through Alterna, and Free Comic Book Day is coming up, I would like to donate X amount of copies of my book, Downcast #1, to you, so that you can hand them out to people. Maybe we can pick up some new readers." I'm still waiting to hear back from the comic book shop, but it's always in the back of my mind as to I wonder if, as I'm doing outreach to people not on the internet, if they have Googled on the internet uh, my name and reputation, Alterna Comics name and reputation, and who they're getting information from. And if that is going to affect real life dealings like this, I was going to say business deal, but it's not even a business deal. It's me just offering to give them free comics to give out for free on Free Comic Book Day. I mean, it's a win-win situation. Anyway, so they haven't responded yet. There's not a problem with that, but again, I wonder about these things. So it's upsetting to me that when I look online, people are willing to go to great lengths to try to paint a picture that Alterna is some terrible place, that it's some shadowy, evil hate group organization, when in reality, Peter Simeti is one of the nicest people in comics, and two, Alterna Comics has a great deal for creators. It is a great place to be published with. I'm very proud to be with Alterna, and so the facts don't line up with the picture that they're trying to paint. So I want to get into that. That was a big intro. But first, I got to show you this. This is from Nacho. I asked him, I kind of know the answer to this, but I asked him so that I could show you, when is the book going to be finished? When are you going to be finished with all the pages? He said, so for next week would be all done. That's his slightly broken English. I love Nacho. Anyway, it's going to be done next week. I said, great. I should be launching the campaign either at the end of May or possibly the start of June. I could technically launch right now if I wanted to, but I cannot handle a campaign at the moment. But that's coming. All right. So the reason I give you this big intro, we're going to look at this Tess Fowler thing here in a minute. All right. Peter Simeti went on to Ethan Van Sciver's stream. Okay. Now, that's always, you're always going to hear from people when you go on Ethan's stream, or you might, hear from people when you go on Ethan's stream. The reality is that Ethan is a person. He is a comic book professional, a veteran. He has a YouTube channel. He makes jokes. His channel is somewhat maybe a hybrid model off of the Howard Stern show, and so those kinds of jokes and humor, you know what I mean. That to me is the controversial, the most controversial part about Ethan Van Sciver. It's his show. He cannot be more controversial than Howard Stern. Okay, that's my point. So the fact that if you're a creator going on to his show, and at the same time, if you can be a celebrity and go on the Howard Stern show, and that be okay, but you can't do this, you can't go on Ethan's show, and that's not okay. I don't see the logic. None of this is consistent. Okay. So Peter posted that he went on the show. He raised some money, and the money was to pay for his cat's vet bill. Not only that, but I hope and I think that he made some money selling some art, because that is a great thing. There's nothing wrong with making money selling art. And so here's, from this organization, not important really, says, I don't know if you were unaware, but EVS is someone you don't want to be associated with. He's been an integral part of the Comicsgate hate group. Alterna doesn't do anything with them, does it? That would be a bit of a bummer to learn. Okay, so this is how it works. It's guilt by association. So this is the same game that I've had people play with me, having it done to you live on air when you're on a stream. At least for me, is a little bit off-putting. Peter's played this game before, obviously. I'm not going to go through everything here, but he said, I don't know if you're aware, but Comicsgate isn't a hate group. EVS isn't part of a hate group either. Since you weren't aware before, now you are now. Have a great one. And of course, it goes on, and it's not important. The point here is that there's this tactic of you hang out with the wrong people. Essentially, that's what it boils down to. Now, you could say your ideology is messed up, right? If I thought about the groups out there or movements that I drastically disagree with, I could point to their ideas. I could point to very specific things that they believe in, and I think we could even agree that they believe in those things. It's not like clouded or anything. It's not like, oh, you hang out with this person. It's you believe this thing that I very much disagree with. Okay. They never point anything like that out. That's never how it works. And when they do, they'll point out, well, somebody was mean to somebody on Twitter. That's what it comes down to. Okay. So the worst things that you can say about Comicsgate, you can say about comics, period. This has come full circle. This is the point. Comicsgate is a cross-section of independent comics, and independent comics is a cross-section of all of comics. Professional comics everywhere. There's always the same kinds of games. It's just that in your world, you're allowed to sync to lows because of some weird rule system that exists, some oppression rule system. And in Comicsgate, that doesn't exist. That's the difference. You're not bound by these weird social rules. So here's one for you. Hey all, guess who's still actively hunting up and up and coming creative women? My heart dropped when this email came in. He's still dangling work opportunities, except this time it's not for real jobs. Monsters don't stop. They just change tactics. Stay safe. Hashtag Brian Wood. Wow. Name and shame. So what possibly could have happened here? Brian Wood started DMing me on Instagram. Oh, this sounds nefarious. Which of course led me to Google and your tweets about your experiences with him. This is exactly what I worry about. And this is exactly what activists on Twitter want, is that you can post any nonsense that you want about somebody on Twitter, and you can do it repeatedly. Therefore, whenever some kind of work opportunity comes up in comics and they Google your name, that's the kind of trash that they find. The goal here is to blacklist. It's not a formal blacklist. It's this is how things work in 2020. You hear about a new person, maybe I'll Google them just to see. I want to see what their public profile looks like. And then you see this. That destroys careers. All right. So here it says he hasn't done or said anything inappropriate yet, but I'm wondering how weary I should be. I apologize for reaching out to you out of the blue like this, but I prefer to do my research when people reach out to me about being potentially interested in working with me on something. Seems like it could be genuine, or more likely just a lure, given that he seems pretty interested in working with me without knowing that much about my work. It could also be that writers are often looking for new artists that don't have experience in comics because they're less expensive. Artists, once they have names, and they have work, they're so expensive. It doesn't make sense for a writer to be the front man anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's too expensive. You might as well have the artist hire a writer instead, and the artist is the front man. Anyway, I digress. So, yeah, from the articles I've seen today. Okay, so this is exactly what is intended to happen here: is nasty things posted on the internet. The difference is that when it comes to someone like Peter Simeti, if your response is "you're wrong," I don't care, and you move on, they suddenly don't have power over you. So any mean things that you hear online, somebody said something mean to someone else, I would suggest pausing and asking yourself, does this same kind of mean interaction happen in the rest of independent comics? If the answer is yes, and you're asking yourself honestly, then I would beg the question, then what is the difference? What makes Peter Simeti such a hateful person and you not a hateful person? What is the difference? It's guilt by association. You've just picked somebody that's an evil person, or evil people, and you'll endlessly link anyone to them. The moment that everyone stops caring and that has no power, you're going to look exactly this stupid. And currently, right now, this has no power. Right? If you want the news rant to post a review on a blog that nobody reads, if you want that to happen for your book, you could do that, I guess, but no one's going to read it. It's not that important. It's not important at all. Anyway, so appreciate you all watching. Hope my scattered video. I still have this video Eric Weathers is on. I'm going to edit it, I promise. I just I don't know. I think I need to get through this week first. We'll get things sorted out. Check out my website, sweetcomicshop.com, where you can get books that I have already printed. Downcast 3 is coming. It just has to, guys. I've got to just get it out because it's finished. So we're moving to that. I'm gonna get the campaign ready, make sure that we're all ready to go. And I'm thinking it'll, we might launch at the end of May. I'm thinking. Oh, excuse me. Also check out Alterna Comics. This is alternaaccess.com for just fantastic comic books. You got kids. These Mr. Crypt Rat Baron books are fantastic. My kids love it. I introduced it to my nieces and nephews. They all love it. Baron Rat's great. Otherwise, pick up a copy of Downcast right here. January bundle. You can get everything for $21.92. That's pretty great. Downcast number 2, I think, is coming out pretty soon as well. So thank you so much for your support. Appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next video.